Hey everybody, welcome back. We are watching Fear the Walking Dead. We're on season 4, the season finale, episode 16. This one is called I Lose Myself. I lose people, I lose myself, which is a Morgan thing. But it also seems to be a Martha thing. And I have a feeling we're going to see her because she just turned Jimbo into one of her little toys. The gang is going to look for Al, and then supposedly everybody's going to start heading back east across the nation, because right now we're in Texas. So that's going to be a couple of months' drive, depending on how fast they go, how much fuel they find. Will anybody else die? Well, of course, that can always happen. Hard to say. I don't have any predictions per se, other than what I just said, that Martha's going to be in it, Morgan is going to be focused on, and if Morgan has his way, he's going to try to save her and show her how she has been wrong about helping people and all that kind of stuff, and using his life lessons as part of it. So I think that's where the I Lose Myself comes in, is he's going to talk about how he went through a similar thing. That's what I think is going to happen. So we will see. Let's watch this. It's 12:43 in the morning. Actually, I'm going to take my meds, my sleep meds, so that by the time I finish this, I should be ready to go to sleep, and then hopefully I won't miss much as far as getting sleep before having to work. So let's see what happens. Remembered to bring the picture up this time. That's Al. So she did make it out of the hospital. Where'd she lock herself into?
I'm in a parking garage, a couple miles south of the hospital.
Now Martha knows where she's at. What's she see?
You gotta be shit.
She knows how to work it, because that's what she did for a living. Is that the fire truck that they were on? Is that Jimbo's guts? Or the other ones? Jimbo's.
I watched your interview. So many people need something.
So that's how she knows about Morgan. Why didn't she shoot her?
I'll be stronger than ever.
Is she gonna kill herself?
Strong too. I will.
By getting bit? Actually, she'd probably kill herself.
You finally gonna tell us where the hell
Not
in
in the
Virginia
head.
we're actually going?
He's gonna tell his
There's
story.
a few places more or less nearby.
They said the king?
Let me try to.
We're at a crossroads again. Is that the same crossroads? With as fast as people can walk in this story, you'd think they'd be across the whole U.S. within a week by just walking. It's gotta feel good. If you've ever gone a day or two without brushing your teeth, get that gritty feeling.
We could always go back to the
Nice day.
The Chateau Lafitte is waiting for us.
Apple's a good way to brush your teeth too.
Gone.
Doesn't take a whole day to recognize sunshine.
Is one of them gonna dine
I
in?
wanted you to know that I know who I am now.
Oats. Slavin. It's exactly what Jimbo didn't want. Where is she at? Tie her up. Well, I guess you can lock her in the back. The cage should keep her in the back. Did he make sure the child locks were on though? Didn't he come from the other direction? Don't let Al die. I like her. She's not doing well. I still say Martha did something to her. To Al.
We thought it was what she had before. It's not just her.
It was in the coffee. Martha poisoned the coffee.
You hang on.
Don't look back going that fast on curves.
Just pull over.
Yeah, the child locks weren't on. Ouch. The water was poisoned.
You can't help them. Don't you understand?
Why doesn't he use the police car radio? That poor leg is going to be dead with all the damage he's done to it.
It's not supposed to be this way.
Which is exactly what he was yelling in the other series. Looks like they're getting past the worst of it. How much gas does it have in it? Is that her husband? No. I'm going to her. Now it's on empty.
Well, what are we waiting for?
Open fire. Good thing she restocked.
Get down!
That did it. Is that supposed to be the alcohol?
Whether we're here or not, it's still gonna be you.
That's because he doesn't die. Take it out on the walkers. He landed on the bad leg. No, he didn't.
Yeah, he did.
That's Morgan. Can hear him with his stick. His knife's sticking out sideways. Or knife holder.
Ethanol, that's just a fancy word for alcohol, right? Yeah. For me to stop along the way.
Augie's ale. How much alcohol are they going to let Charlie drink?
I know. Well, just don't go get poisoned again until you're at least 21.
Pretty good for getting all that permanent marker off. It's usually a bitch to get off of. Ripped her arm off. Is that a roadway going through the river? Some kind of concrete thing.
The polar bear started doing what he
All
was
of his
doing.
supplies.
Try to set up a system that lasts.
Got layers.
Heading out on a mission. So that was the end of season 4. There for a minute I thought they were just going to scrap everybody and start over with Morgan collecting a new batch of people. But he was able to save them. So my theory about them going back to Alexandria, thinking they might go back there, and season 5 would be the journey there, and then season 6 would be them joining up with the Walking Dead as it has its extended season. I'm tired, so I've got the emotions going on. I was also wrong about the fact that they didn't keep Martha around. I thought they might pull a cheesemaker, but they didn't do that. I think they could have done more with that character. I think she could have been a better big bad. So I don't think it worked as well as it could have. That's JoJo. She's scratching the post. Oh no, JoJo's down below. Who's scratching the post? That must be Buddy. Or Buddy's watching JoJo scratch the post. I can't tell. My it's granular. It's not the best photo. Hi, Jojo. Jojo was the one scratching the post. You can tell now that she's facing the camera. And that's Buddy looking up at her. They're Buddy and Jojo are sisters. They're from the same litter. They're the Farrell family. Oh, and there's Fangs. She's from a different family. She's a stray. And Ryder, her brother, is a stray. Who's the other gray tabby. Not a black and tan tabby, but a gray tabby. And then Purdy's here. So at any rate, I was wrong about a couple of things on the show. That's okay, because some of the stuff was predictable. Them dying of the antifreeze, you can survive antifreeze. It just depends on how much you drink. I don't know if ethanol really is a cure for it. That'd be interesting to find out. Or if that just worked for the creators. Ethanol glycol poses the greatest risk to pets and is what we're discussing in this post. Ethanol, it's a pet poison helpline. Ethanol glycol is so dangerous that just 2 teaspoons of the liquid is lethal for a cat, and a couple of tablespoons can kill a medium-sized dog. It is sweet smelling, and some animals will not hesitate to lap it right up off the garage floor. It's important to know the warning signs and treatment protocol for ethylene glycol poisoning. It is also very interesting that the antidote for ethylene glycol toxicity can include clear hard liquors such as vodka or Everclear. So they're not saying beer, so they might have stretched that a little bit for the show, but it might have helped too. Because in the end, alcohol is alcohol. It's just the process and the concentration that makes the difference between the different ones. Let's see about for humans, because that was specifically for pets. Treatment of ethylene glycol poisoning with oral ethyl alcohol. Ethylene glycol poisoning is not uncommon in India, which is a scary first sentence. The ill effects are primarily caused by its toxic metabolites, glycolic acid and oxalic acid. A 70-year-old female presented to our hospital with ataxia after ingestion of ethylene glycol. The reported case describes the management of ethylene glycol poisoning using oral ethyl alcohol as an alternative to the recommended intravenous ethyl alcohol and fomepizole that are not available for use in India. The need for high degree of clinical suspicion, targeted investigations, and early ingestion of treatment is a prime importance in cases of glycol poisoning, as it can lead to long-term complications or even death. However, as the aforementioned drugs are not licensed for use in India, we administered oral ethyl alcohol as an alternative treatment for our patient who had ingested ethylene glycol accidentally. There are hardly any case reports from India where oral ethyl alcohol therapy was successfully used to treat ethylene glycol poisoning. The reported case highlights on the importance of oral ethyl alcohol therapy where intravenous ethyl alcohol and the other are not available, that fomepizole. Oral ethanol, when supplemented with timely hemodialysis, leads to clinical improvement with no residual complications. The elimination half-life of ethylene glycol is approximately 3 hours. Hence, patients presenting to the hospital much later are not likely to be benefited from ethanol therapy, irrespective of the route of the administration. So our crew would have been dead. Diagnosis, treatment. Current practice guidelines for initiating treatment of ethylene glycol poisoning have been published by the American Academy of Clinical Toxicology and are listed in Table 3. which they did not grant the rights to reproduce this item. Ethylene glycol is rapidly absorbed from the stomach, making treatment with gastric lavage and syrup of ipecac ineffective. Likewise, it requires large amounts of activated charcoal to bind relatively small amounts of ethylene glycol, and the therapeutic window for this action is less than an hour. Traditional treatment of ethylene glycol poisoning consists of sodium bicarbonate, ethanol, and hemodialysis. Fomepizole, I don't know what the word is a new agent with a specific indication for the U.S. Food and Drug Administration for the treatment of ethylene glycol poisoning. Ethanol and fomepizole are thought to act as inhibitors of alcohol dehydrogenase and therefore prevent the formation of acidic ethylene glycol metabolites, but only fomepizole has demonstrated this ability. If patients are diagnosed and treated with these products early in the course of poisoning, hemodialysis may be avoided. Once severe acidosis and renal failure have occurred, however, hemodialysis is necessary. We're still talking about short periods of windows of time, and the way they were presenting the show, they were poisoned for quite a few hours. Ugh. So at any rate, yeah, she and I got in a fight the other day. Yesterday. She left, I don't know if you guys will be able to see it, that mark, and then, my skin's too white. There we go. That mark with her teeth. Because I was trying to get her off my lap and she didn't want to get off my lap, and so she bit my hand. So we had a fight, didn't we? So overall, I liked the second half of the season a lot better than the first half. You guys know why I didn't like the first half. Don't like that back and forth stuff. I don't like the fact that they killed Nick. I think they killed off Maddie just because they didn't know what else to do with her, but they left it, as I said, so that she could come back, because they didn't actually show her dying. They showed her in an impossible situation, but hey, Daniel came back, so if he can come back, she can too. I still think they could possibly team up with The Walking Dead if the two shows coordinate. And I think that would be interesting. When they were talking about what shows were going to stay and which shows were going to go and all that kind of stuff, I didn't catch on to what they were saying about Fear the Walking Dead. So I don't know if it's going to continue once The Walking Dead ends, or if it's going to end at the same time. I hope season 5 starts off with being done with Morgan losing himself and losing people, and therefore we go into clear mode and it's not supposed to be this way, and all that kind of stuff. I'm ready for him to be healed. I'm ready for him to move on, and let's use his character better. I can understand why they did it with this show. One, they may have new people watching that haven't watched the old one, or the original. So for anybody new, it wasn't all that tiring. But they also didn't go into the full detail of what he had done, and how crazy he went and all that kind of stuff. So who knows? That's brother and sister fighting. At any rate, I'm tired. I'm going to bed. I'm going to get this DVD off in the mail, and we will start season 5 tomorrow. She's not playing anymore. Thank you for joining me for this episode for this season, and I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.